Hi folks, my wife gets really upset about the background. You might have remembered from previous videos where there were boxes all over the floor and it was quite messy. My office is still like a storage closet, but now things are up in tall racks and they're a little bit easier to get to. And you might be thinking, well, that's unprofessional. I really don't care. Frankly, doesn't matter to me. I'm here to do some work. Now, if you want to do some work and get some things accomplished, then it's very important to focus on the message more than anything else. As these videos are edited, there'll be more and more items down the side here, or dialogue boxes, banner information across the bottom, and it really won't matter what the background look like. In fact, the background is just it's a background. Your office doesn't have to be perfect to get things done. In fact, if your office looks like crap, that's okay too, as long as you know how to find things. And actually, we're going to talk a little bit about, I've had some people ask about these little labels, like right there on that box. Oh, right here. And then there's labels on this box over there. People have asked about that. They say, look, your office is really messy. How can you find anything? But there is a system in place. For example, those notebooks on the back shelf, there are years and years of consulting. So I did consultations, I provide written report of findings, and very often those 2 or 3 report of findings will be done on the same thing. So the next time I talk with a client about that specific item, I don't invent it from scratch. In fact, I will go ahead and grab one of those notebooks, and the client will do a survey. And then from that survey, I have a basis of their situation, a basis of where they want to go, and then information about the notebook itself. Now, those notebooks are all over the office. They're everywhere. And they're easy to find because I have a system in place. In fact, when your competitors look at your business and they see you doing several different mailing campaigns, pay-per-click, your website maybe looks ugly or something. They see teleseminars and live events, and they wonder how all this stuff could grow your business. And they go in and focus on specifically those things they're comfortable with. See, sometimes all this clutter and mess is not very comfortable. It's not very comfortable to other people. But it's newsletters. Here are different newsletter issues coming up. I already told you about the binders. Now, granted, my desk, a little shitty, could be cleaned up a little bit. But all these things come together to create results for your business. Okay? If you go in to a marketplace without the massive action that is necessary to drive forward results, if you're doing simple campaigns that your competitors can look at and tell, they look at it and say, it's a yellow page ad. I'll do a yellow page ad. They're just going to keep knocking you off. But if your yellow page ad does something strange and different, like for example, offers a free report on how to hire an electrical contractor. The 6 things that every procurement manager needs to know before they accept any bid from an electrical contractor. The 7 things that need to be in your RFP before you bother to go after electrical work. There are different things, and that may not have made sense to some people, but what that is a report to a procurement professional or to a manager who's writing an RFP. What do they need to have in their RFP to get the right electrical contractor? See, it's in the language of the person who buys, not your language. It's not about you, okay? All this stuff back here is about getting things done. It's not about being pretty. Maybe I'm handsome enough. But the key is that what I bring to you is not going to be perfect. And in fact, very often it is the introduction that gets you started so that you can get results in your business. And if you need additional help, that's why we have the telephone hotlines. That's why at the end of every call, I tell you what the program number it is so that you can call in. Those are catalog numbers. Okay, very often you're going to say catalog code XYZ, like CK22 is my book, How to Increase Sales and Profits in 90 Days or Less. I will be able to take that and I'll group it back together. Now I'm very analytical, numbers based, and it's I just noticed how wow, that's wild. I code all those things back together so that I can handle them and put them in groups. And then when you ask a question about CK22, I can go and find all the questions that anybody's ever asked and all the answers that I've ever provided. And then I can do my homework. This is critically important. A lot of consultants out there, a lot of advertising agencies, they want to be new and creative, and they want to have feelings and excitement and joy. The fact of the matter is, I want sales and profits for my clients. I want you to be able to brag about the success you have, not because it felt good or it stroked your ego, but because you're driving the Ford F-150 or the Dodge with the big Hemi in it, and your competitors are looking at you going, oh, how their office is a mess. Their advertising looks ugly. They're all over the place. Who knows what the hell they're doing? And he's got a really nice truck and I don't. And, I want you to be able to be the person you want to be, to have the results that you want to have, to enjoy a lifestyle. And sometimes that means you got to get down and get dirty in the business. You got to roll up your sleeves and get the action going. When you're sitting in your office, there's going to be things pouring in. You're going to need to get the administrative assistant to help you. You're going to need to have the bookkeeper in place. You're going to need to have the processes in place. And it may look ugly to everybody else. Constantly frustrates my wife. Actually, there's a desk over here now that's going to have a little chair at it. So when my wife comes to visit the office, she can sit down in the little chair and relax and not have the crowded stuff on the floor. I did that for her because I live with her and I want to make her happy. But these stacks in the back, versatile. I can roll these suckers around. Woo! I can roll these suckers around, form them however I need to form them. I can access things. Every shelf is cataloged in criteria. I don't have a beautiful office. I'm in the basement because I don't want to waste money on things that don't bring in customers. I don't want to waste money on little things that make me look good, that make me look special or different, when I can do things that create results that differentiate me from others in the marketplace. See, advertising agencies are about winning awards for advertising agencies. Those awards are based on glamour and showcase and things. Now, you can have that kind of stuff. Celebrity marketing is excellent. And you can be a celebrity in your business. But the truth of the matter is if you go into the shop, it's going to get a little messy over time. If you go into the shop, it's going to get a little, confusing every morning getting those trucks out. It's frustrating and stressful. But when you apply systems in place, it still may look confusing to the outside world. But the fact of the matter is you can increase capacity. You can increase your ability. You can increase your reach and strength in a marketplace by having the right systems in place. And then it really doesn't matter what people think of what they look at when they see your business. None of that matters because you'll be getting the results that you deserve and the results that fully fund your retirement account. The results that send your kids to the best school. The results that produce the lifestyle that you've been promising your wife for years and now you can finally deliver. It doesn't mean growing your business to $10 million and then still not being able to enjoy a ball game with your son or a camping trip with your family. Or even, my wife and I went to Asheville a couple weeks ago and I wasn't stressed out. The office is a little messy and people might say, well, it's messy. You're probably stressed out. You're probably looking for stuff. No, I got systems in place. We went to Asheville. We spent time with friends. We went to the Biltmore wine tasting, with to the shops there. I got some exercise. I relaxed, had a good time. We saw some friends that we got to hang out with them as well. There's a bonfire, It was great. Now, I might have bitched and complained about walking all the distance to the bonfire, and there were some things that I wanted to do in downtown Asheville, but we went to Black Mountain instead. Had just as good of a time. But I wasn't thinking, somebody's got to file some papers at the office, and we got to do our end of month, and no, it was all being taken care of. Now, I did check in to make sure everything was being taken care of. I monitored the system. Okay. I verified things were progressing the way I want to. I looked at a P&L to make sure the end of the week was where I wanted to be. And then I authorized some bills to be paid because this trip was on I I think it was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I took the whole day Friday, and I wanted to just make sure these things get, because we pay, we like to pay our bills on time, and I like to get my checks on time. So you can have this lifestyle, but it's a command and control lifestyle. It's not a, I got to be in the business every day. And it's not a glamorous lifestyle from those observing on the outside. I plugged 19 mushroom logs. I'm into gardening, as you might know, permaculture, things like that. I got to do that in the course of a day because I have flexibility in my schedule. Now, I have a major client that I serve. I have my coaching members that I serve. But that's no different than you having a few large bid jobs, maybe government contract, state or local government, and then many on-call jobs that come in, and then regular income coming from service contracts, for example. All these things work together. Now, your competitors might look at you and say, well, yeah, they ought to be specializing in this or specializing in that, or they ought to do more bids, or you know what, I don't see them at every bid contract, or I don't see their trucks offering free estimates, or no job too big, no small. And they're probably losing, they're worrying about you more than they're worrying about their own business. And what I'm talking about here with strategic relations is getting back to you. I'm watching myself on the monitor here, and it's kind of weird because I got a 2-second delay. To making sure you get what you want from your business. Okay? Now, if you want everything to look pretty, that's a different story, and if you're going to waste money there, that's fine. I want things to look pretty when I'm hanging out at the Biltmore, or I'm going to, I stayed in the West End on a St. Louis trip, and I had some great meals. When we go to New Jersey at the end of the year to visit friends and family, we're going to go see a Broadway show and spend some time with some in-laws, I guess they are, and visit some friends. That's where we want to spend our luxury time. But when it comes to getting things done, taking care of business, as the king, Elvis Presley, would say, it isn't pretty, but it's done. It isn't pretty, but it's results. It isn't pretty, but when you look at the balance sheet, the net worth, the retirement balance, the profit margin, the cash flow, you have the numbers that you want. See, it doesn't matter if you're a $10 million business and you're not making enough money to put 40, 50K a year into your retirement account, or even catch up your retirement account with other assets that cash flow or other streams of income into the business. See, this is about getting things done. I should put a little graphic up here of Elvis Presley taking care of business. Lightning bolt, TCB. So this all might be kind of weird and strange to you, but the bottom line is, I want to brag a little bit about my shelving, because that's awesome. I've got more room, vertical space, little secret in the business. If you are dominating your marketplace and you want a little bit more profit, a little bit more sales, you can always go up, vertical space, increase your profits, premium pricing, adding a service contract to it. Anyway, we're going to cover more of these things in the future. If you have any questions about this program, or challenges you're facing in your business, or tools and resources that we can use to help you get to the next level, you can visit the URL across the bottom here, which is probably going to go this way, askjustinhit.com. You can visit at Commercial Electrical Profits. We have a copywriting newsletter if you want to send your staff over to learn how to write words that sell, to improve your lead generation, to increase your ability to retain customers with certain types of business communications necessary to keep them involved in an active and profitable relationship. As you know, we serve a lot of procurement professionals because we do procurement for the marketing side and the business development side of the business. We also have staffing resources available for procurement professionals that you might want in your organization. And so you might be looking at that and saying, Justin, procurement professionals, copywriters, marketing management, campaign management, business analyst services. What do they all have to do with each other? Well, we'll show you what they have to do with each other, because they have to do with your profits. Because when you can buy right and good value and you're buying the right kind of marketing services that are accountable on a P&L basis. See, a procurement manager who's buying marketing services goes beyond just inventory. They go into, is this a profitable purchase? If we spend $1 to generate a customer, are we generating $2 in profit? Or are we generating $1 in profit? When we talk about copywriters, very often the words you use take you further than anything else in your business, because that is how your customers, these things right here on the side of the head, these things right here, the eyes, it's not social media that gets customers. It's not fax broadcasting, voicemail, texting, guy knocking on the door. It's that content of the sales presentation put in the context of the buyer's needs and wants that makes the sale happen. It makes them buy now. It makes them have a decision to do business with you over anybody else available. So there's copywriting skills. The business analyst work, which I do directly, by the way, I don't have a big office full of people here. I have people at vendors. I have independent contractors that work remotely. I do have a conference room down the hallway and a couple other things that when I do have staff come here and when we have mastermind meetings. But the bottom line is that these resources come together when you need them most. Imagine it this way. I'm telling you about procurement people, copywriters, business analysts, bookkeeping and analyst people who help you keep your books up to date and your cost accounting correctly, so that you can know exactly how much to put on every estimate, so that you make money on every sale. Imagine these people available only when you need them. So let's say you have 20 trucks and you go out in the warehouse and you have this little tiny warehouse, just a little tiny warehouse, maybe 1,000 square foot warehouse. And that warehouse is 1,000 square foot all the time, and you're only paying $1 per square foot for that 1,000 square foot warehouse. But what if you get a really big job and you need 22 trucks? Now, are you going to be able to fit the supplies for a really big job in a little 1,000 square foot warehouse, and then all those guys running in and out, filling their trucks up to take it out on the job site? Well, in the mentality of some individuals, they will buy a bigger space, because a bigger space means they're more successful. Remember the ego thing that we talked about. More space means they're more successful. Somebody says you're at a national trade event, and somebody says to you, "Hey, I heard you're a growing electrical contractor. How big's your warehouse?" It's like you're comparing dick sizes or something. Somebody says, "I got 1,000 square foot warehouse and 22 trucks." And the other guy says, "Well, look, I got a 2,500 square foot warehouse, 22 trucks." Next guy's like, "Oh, I've got a 15,000 square foot warehouse and 40 trucks." None of that matters, okay? None of that matters. If you have a 1,000 square foot warehouse and 5 trucks, you could be more profitable than the guy with a 25,000 square foot and 40 trucks. Listen, this is very, very important. You could be more profitable because he's paying for those trucks every freaking month, okay? Every month he's paying for those trucks. And if you can design your business to pay for only what you use, that's our market domination strategies that we talk about. That's the subjugate your competitors strategies that we talk about. You could then be paying for 1,000 square feet, but get the value of 2,500 square feet or 25,000 square feet. That's where the procurement strategies come in. So it's just-in-time warehousing. That's landing your materials at the job site rather than at the warehouse. That's the use of contingent warehouse space, where you only pay for the space that you're using. So you land the materials at this third-party contingent warehouse. And see, this is where all the business analyst stuff comes in, the logistics work comes in, and you're now paying for only the space that you use. Now imagine you need 22 trucks. You've got 5 trucks. Well, you could lease option to get the remaining trucks, but then you'd have a monthly payment. Or you could bring strategic subcontractors in to whom you have relationships with. See how powerful this is, folks? If you've been dreaming of having a $10 million, $20 million, $40 million business, and it's frustrated you not having the cash flow in order to fund that type of business, that's where the marketing comes in. The copywriters doing direct response advertising, where every marketing piece is accountable for a sale. If you've got salespeople in the field or estimators that are going out and drumming up business, and they don't bring in any business, are you going to keep somebody on staff? Are you going to keep the guy on staff that's getting maybe a base salary of $25,000 a year, and every year he shows up with goose eggs? No, you're going to boot him. But why would you then keep a Yellow Page ad, for example, year after year? It looks like a giant-ass business card. You're going to keep it year after year. It never produces a sale, or you don't know if it produces a sale or not because you're not measuring. A website. See, this is where the copywriter comes in. Now, the copywriter is going to design a campaign that generates leads who are qualified to buy. Very important there. The copywriter is going to help you with measurements to determine the value or responsiveness of a campaign, which are going to be then used by the analyst to determine the profitability of a campaign. Because just because a whole bunch of people respond to your ad doesn't mean any of them are worth doing business with. It's an ecosystem. And when you have an ecosystem like that, you don't have time to make a pretty office. You have time for vacation because a lot of that stuff runs on its own. Once it's set up, and that's the highly productive team material, Kevin Lee materials that I introduced a little while back. Once you have the right setup, folks, listen to this. Listen, this is so important. Once you have the right setup, this stuff runs on autopilot. And you don't have to be there every day in your business. Now, I talk to a lot of electrical contractors who dream that one day they're going to build this business up and they're going to sell the business. Okay? And that's how they're going to fund a retirement account. But you know what? I've been involved with people buying businesses, and they don't want a business that requires you. Not you in particular, but where the owner or key members are required to come with the business in order for the business to continue to produce profits. Now, sometimes they might buy a business just to sell off all the assets. That's that guy with the 25,000 square foot warehouse and the 44 trucks who ends up going bankrupt because he can't afford to pay for his trucks. But you know what? He wanted the pride of ownership, so he bought those trucks outright, and they end up getting sold. I think Truland, good example. The trucks end up getting sold, pennies on the dollar. Some other contractor benefits because they buy up a bunch of nice trucks for pennies on the dollar. And there's an opportunity you got to look at too with a couple of these big contractors going out of business. The guy has 25,000 square foot of warehouse, and why would you have a big giant ass warehouse if you aren't going to fill it up with copper and breakers and control units and conduits? And they got a good deal. They bought value, but they couldn't get it out the door because they didn't have the copywriters, the marketers, the selling systems in place. And this should be very scary and intense to you. Because what I'm trying to convey is that you might be focusing on the wrong thing, making it all look pretty. There's guys with beat up trucks and no office running around taking your work. Now, sometimes they're taking it because they're underbidding and they don't understand the numbers and they're going to go out of business eventually. But just like many of my clients used to work for somebody else, struck out on their own, but didn't strike out. They had a bunch of first, they got up the first a number of times and hit a couple home runs here and there, but they didn't strike out. Even if they got fouled to the first base, they still made it to first. And out of 10 or 15 of those competitors that right now are giving you a hard time because they're underbidding, there are going to be one or two who are going to be just as big as you are unless you understand the strategic relations elements that we're talking about here. How elements of your business are interdependent and how elements of your business work together in a system, and the system is designed to produce profits. Okay, because gross sales, you can't take it to the bank. Likes, you can't take it to the bank. Response, you can't take it to the bank. And when people look on your business, there are many hidden elements that you can put into place that they won't be able to see. And then they can copy your marketing campaigns, but they won't have the telephone handled correctly. And people will call. I had my assistant call 2,000 people on my mailing list, all electrical contractors. And I discovered which ones are going through divorce, which ones are having problems with the finances in the business and probably going to be out of business soon. Actually, this is a postcard campaign to 800 people, okay? These are the things that came back Okay, the contrast is off there. These are the ones that came back because the businesses have gone out of business within the last 30 days. Now, I mailed 875, and about 7% came back. So there's probably, maybe almost 100 cards here. But think about it. When there's hidden elements in your business, the customer will copy, the competitors will copy what they can see. The customers will get what they want, but the competitors will spend money they can't afford to spend, and they'll go out of business. Then you can grab up their best customers. You don't want all their customers because not all customers are created equal. But I think I've been rambling a little bit. What I wanted to give you is a taste of what's going on. I want to show off my fancy new rack. It is deer season. Anyway, the bottom line here, folks, is what you see is very deceptive. And what you allow your competitors to see is very engineered. And the systems within your business, if done correctly, can come together when you need a lot of staff, separate when you don't need as many. Now, I'm not talking about you becoming a general contractor. I'm talking about you dominating a market and getting the results that you deserve. You've invested all this time into the business. Why not get something back? I want to show you the power of the positioning and the scope. And I'm going to leave you with one example before I go about that power and positioning, because I described what I have here in my organization, helping people like you create and keep profitable customers and turn business relationships into profits guaranteed. But I'll give you an electrical contractor example here shortly. The bottom line is that we're coming into a new year, a weird, strange, and awkward new year, where you're either going to profit, or you're going to go out of business. Are you going to be one of these index cards that comes back that no deal? What does it say? Return to sender, address unknown, unable to deliver, no mailbox. You choose. Now let me give you that practical example before we wrap this up. The practical example is this. I told you about how I have copywriters, procurement professionals, how we do business analyst work, business development, supply logistics around the marketing process, how we do profitability analysis. Now let me show this to you from your perspective. I'm going to step out of where I am. I'm going to be in your shoes as a commercial electrical contractor. Okay, that's where I have experience. I can talk with authority on that particular topic. Let's say you're going into an office building who has a small data center who is going to migrate that data center to another location. I've done a number of these jobs as a systems administrator and have hired electrical contractors to do this type of work or to support this type of work. Now, what kind of work are you going to have there? You're going to have straight electrical work. You're going to have three-phase inside wiring, and you're going to have that. Okay, so some of the contractors I hired, they say, well, we do the internal electric. We can put the wall outlets, the little orange plates that determine which ones are on generator, which ones are not, or which ones are on conditioned power and non-conditioned power. They say, well, we can do the three-phase wiring into the racks. Okay, so you're going to put up these 19-inch racks. We're going to run wiring to each of the racks, three-phase. We're going to make sure it's clean, short runs, and then we're going to label everything. And some contractors stop there. See, that's what you see on the outside. Okay, and they put in their bid because that's what the RFP asked for. Okay? But the smart person using strategic relations, okay, they're going to say, well, what else does this customer need? What else can I do to make my solution the most powerful, the most value-added, the most beneficial solution? Not just the service. You're not an electrical contractor. You're a marketer of electrical services and solutions. You're going to say, what can I do? So on the initial interviews before the bid, you're going to ask these questions. I understand you want three-phase wiring to each of the racks. Who's doing your low voltage? What are the specifications for your low voltage? What are your power conditioning requirements? And what are your needs for backup or conditional power? What about grounds? Is the facility properly grounded for this type of capacity or usage? How about fire safety and monitoring? Lights? Data center lights, are they going to be on backups or not backup power? Are they going to be limited LED lighting? Because a lot of times your data centers, you don't need a lot of light. There's nobody ever in there. What about wiring racks and trays? Overhead cabling. What about security systems? See, the customer's going to say, well, we don't want those things. We have an RFP for power. And you can say simply, I appreciate all that, but without knowing these other factors, without you having an understanding of those factors, you can make terrible mistakes in your business that's going to cause outages and downtime in the future. And one of the things that we do for clients to prevent problems and to stop inherent issues in a lot of management of data centers is that we do an assessment up front. Like a diagnostic service. When you go to your doctor complaining of chest pains, you don't expect the doctor to just open your chest up and look at your heart. The doctor's going to do a series of diagnostics, and that's what we're doing here. And this is why it's very important before we do an estimate. Because anybody who bids just for the electric leaves you in the dark about very important things that can hurt your business capacity. Secondly, if we're already in there doing the electric, very often these other runs can be done concurrently and you get a lower rate. You get better costs. So now you can get your electric done at a significantly lower rate than you would having electric done by itself. And they might say to you, well, you're an electrical contractor. That's all you do. Well, they haven't been educated. They haven't been a part of a marketing campaign that educated them to understand that low voltage wiring, control systems, data controls, power conditioning, generators, solar, all these other things are electrical services. And very often you can do these things. Now maybe you can't. Maybe you only do the wiring. Like a lot of the ones that I tried to hire, they would come in and they could only do the wiring. Now as a logistics professional on the technical side, what I would do is sub in others to do the other type of work. So think about this. It's very, very important. Your customer can hire an electrician, a power generation company, or backup generator company. They can hire the lighting company. They can hire a network and data services company. All separate. 4 different companies. Why couldn't you? Why couldn't you say, Mr. Customer, I would like to provide you the most complete solution so that you have uninterrupted data center access for years to come, so that you don't have any downtime for adjustments when you have expansions in the data center, so that your lighting system doesn't cost you a lot of extra money for things that you're hardly going to use. For emergency systems that help you prevent liabilities and major issues. Now, if you do business with us, we bring all these things to the table through a comprehensive program designed specifically to secure your data services and to do the things that you need to do to get results as a customer. Plus, we stand behind the work with our guarantee. We have a service contract available where we'll come in and take care of things. And we have a number of resources that, if they're right for your business, can put you in a strategic advantage over your competitors who only bought the 3-phase wiring. And now they got to shut down the data center so somebody can get in the ceiling again, or to lift the floors up, to put in new cabling and new wiring, that if it was looked at in the beginning, and these things get missed very often, but if they were looked at in the beginning, they would have been found and saved you a significant amount of money up front. Is that something you might be interested in pursuing or getting more information about? See, it's the same as me going over the last 20 years, going to a customer, designing a marketing campaign, and the customer says, well, we can't do that. We got to hire a mailing house? What are you talking about? We got to hire a telemarketing company to call these customers? They're confident the work can be done, but they're not confident they can get the resources together. So what did I do? Well, I was already doing logistics support for other contracts. I was already doing procurement in my own company. I simply said, well, you know what? We'll do all that for you. No. If you want to do this solution, we're going to do everything for you. We're going to hire in price first the marketing companies or the mailing houses or the specialty companies, and we're going to get you the best prices. We're going to manage the job to make sure everything shows up on time. We're going to make sure that everything goes exactly the way that you want it to go. Now, what I just described to you is what your customers want. And it's what C Systems International did. It took them from $441,000 a year to $1.3 million in a year's period, with only 6 months of effort. It's what Egg McAllister did to secure larger and bigger contracts. In fact, a lot of government contractors work on this model, and you may have worked for them for peanuts because they subjugated you to work for them because they owned the customer. I learned this when I was doing computer consulting. I wrote many of the RFPs that my company would then bid on, and then my network of 27 subcontractors would then service. Customers said, well, we have 5 offices and you're only in St. Mary's County. No problem. Because there are hundreds of competitors that'll do the work at your other offices for pennies on the dollar because they don't know how to market. They don't know how to get customers. I want to teach you how to market. I want to teach you how to get customers. But you got to get past all this crap in the background. And look in a mirror. Put a mirror in your office. Look in the mirror. And all the crap behind you doesn't matter. The past failures, the past frustrations, doesn't matter. None of that matters. Only thing that matters is you. What's ahead of you. The things that you do, decision-wise. Now, I think we're going to wrap this up. I hope you can see the power of strategic relations and the power of those satellites floating around a specific buyer, not just anybody, a specific buyer, and to offer them the most comprehensive solution through a diagnostic model that's based on systems. That means lead generation, that means pre-education, it means appointment setting, it means a lot of the things that you're probably already doing in part, and just making those things work together a little cleaner. If you have any questions about this program is J1124A, and you can ask your questions there. You can visit AskJustinHit.com. Oh! Oh, I got so excited. Anyway. J1124A. Get involved. I know it's crazy, man, but you got to have some fun. And you're going to get the results. I guarantee you'll get the results. I've guaranteed 5-figure project. Now, I screen my customers. I've guaranteed 5-figure projects. And my clients have tripled, doubled, 300, 400%. Now, I'm not claiming you're going to get those results. I'm not claiming you're even going to get to work with me. But just listen to what I covered here. It is so powerful. Anyway, I'll answer all your questions. Thank you for being a part of Commercial Electrical Profits. If you're a member of my ad briefings, copywriting tips, or some other publication, just thank you. I thank you very much. You make my lifestyle possible, and it only happens because I deliver value that you can bank on. So I'm Justin Hitt with Commercial Electrical Profits. Thank you for listening. I'm here to say, yes, you can create and keep profitable customers and turn every business relationship into profits guaranteed. This has been program J1124A.